Hello everyone, this is Kim, and this is not quite a garden as I nearly dropped the camera. What you're seeing is the making of what will become a garden. And there is a very pretty orchid in the midst of all of this. This is my daughter's orchid, and she's very, very proud of it. I promised her that this would be in the video, and it is now in the video. There's also a really ugly thing in here that I want to get rid of, but that's not part of the point. So what we have here is what is becoming home. This is part of the story. As Blake Kirby says, everyone has a story and every story counts, so tell your story. So I am telling my story. My story is that I have this home and I have a yard. I inherited this home. I actually bought it for, well, I'm not going to tell you what I bought it for, but I have this home now and it is mine to take care of, and we have a really awesome yard, as you can see, that has the ability to have raised beds. Now, I say ability to because we can't dig in this yard, but what we can do is build up some high raised beds in this yard. And I cannot see what I am filming because the sun is really, really bright. But on that note, you can see that there is a lot of real estate here. And this tree is really big, and it only shades the yard in the early morning. Now, as I'm facing this direction toward the car, that is due east. This yard faces due south, and as I pan back toward the house, that faces due west. So we have a wonderful, wonderful place for direct sunlight, and if I want indirect light, I can actually use some of the shade from the tree during the morning. If I really want to, I can put up some, shade cloth or something like that. Now, as I look at this concrete, you can see that this concrete is really dirty in areas like this, in areas like this. That is because this yard, when it rains, it floods the concrete. What we have to do is we have to figure out how to grade this yard in such a way that it doesn't flood the concrete, because it ends up with water all underneath the house, and that's kind of dangerous for us because, well, the electric is under there, and we can't store things under there if we're going to actually use the storage that is meant to be under this type of a house. It's just not really safe. And it also, let me show you something else. Walk around the house here. It makes this area flood, and we can't get back here to do work on our house back here because, well, if the flooding from that side of the house comes over here, we can't work on it, right? That's no good. And of course it floods our neighbor's yard, and that's not good for our neighbors. So, we got to make sure that the flooding over here stops. That's just no fun. And of course, the electrical mains are over here. That's no good for the electrician when they come to work. So, and the trees are growing up into our siding, so we have to get that taken care of too. So lots of fun stuff, projects for us to work on. Of course, the concrete's overgrown, and we've got a lot of projects to work on. But I'll tell you what, this concrete pad here is going to be terrific when we put up one of these little barn buildings that other people have. Now, I'm not going to film other people's property. That's not for me to do. But all of this yard is going to be terrific because we can put wonderful, wonderful raised beds in here. So this is going to be our garden. So back to me for a minute. This is a garden, is coming back, and we're going to film maybe once a month. At least that's what I'm going to hope for. And if I can get a once a month shot in, I will be telling you about the homesteading process of getting this house together. And I will be doing projects with the yard. What is going to need to happen here is I do not have any tools to really work on this yard yet to build raised beds. My daughter and I really don't have what we need to get this house going yet. So at the end of my videos, you're going to see links to things like my Patreon, my PayPal, other things like that. And I'm not asking for money because we're working on our jobs and our other things like that. What the Patreon is for you to, if you really want to be a part of this project, my Patreon is actually for my space art, and you can go and be a part of that. But part of those things, as it says on my Patreon, are for getting the house going. And it'll say that on my Patreon, just as it says, you know, getting the house going, things like bills, electric, all that other jazz. And that's exactly what that's for. This is a garden is really going to be showing you what this whole process is about, of building this back into a functional garden. And I hope that the updates that you see here are things that you're going to like. Lots of space. I hope that you'll come along with me on this journey. My daughter and I will be working as hard as we can to get this going. And as you can see, there's a lot.